What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another leg on the Around the World trip. We're back in the TBM here at Narsarsquaq Airport in Greenland. Checking up on our progress so far, we left Central Alabama, and after this trip, we're going to be at that spot in Iceland this map shows after this flight. So we're getting started up here. Got to turn on all our systems, turn on the electrical, get the fuel flowing from the fuel tanks. Anytime you fly a new plane, it's always best, especially to go by the checklist. Even though it's a simulation, you don't want to get up there and have some issue, high altitude, or some kind of problem with fuel crossfeed like I've run into before in some of the larger jets. So, always good to follow the checklist when you're still learning how to be very familiar with a new plane. We're going to turn on our bleed, turn on all of our pitot heating and our de-icing, turn all of our lights on. We're going to turn the de-ice on because we're going to be up at altitude, and we're pretty high up in the latitudes here, going from Greenland to Iceland. Today we're going to Keflavik Airport. That's our destination. That's going to be another lot of overwater flying again, so in the middle of the video, got some good clouds along the way, but that's about it. The approach into the airport is going to be pretty interesting. If you want to check that out, it gets pretty bumpy there. Alright, so we're all started up. We're going to go ahead and set our takeoff flaps, and we're going to call for pushback. Hopefully in Flight Sim 2024, this is a little bit better for each plane. Some of the planes like this, as you see, it's like it's hooking up in the middle. Alright, we're on the move here. Getting pushed back. We're going to go ahead and get our map dialed in. And I'll put back just enough where we can safely turn around without running into anything. Even though this, like life, is a simulation, we might as well not try to run into anything. Power turn here. We're going to start taxiing out to the runway. I'll sped up the video here just to save some time on the taxi. Here I wasn't quite sure which way I wanted to go at first. I was going to go that way, but it's much further down to the end of the runway going that way. So we're going to turn around. We're going to head back this way towards the windsock that we saw on approach during the last video, randomly in the middle of the runway there. I doubt we can collide with it, but we're gonna try to avoid it here. Alright, we're gonna go around the windsock. We're gonna get turned around here and lined up for takeoff. Alright, get our power set. We're holding the brakes. Flaps. Alright, we're going to release the brakes and we're going to start rolling. Go ahead and dial in our autopilot altitude to give us a bit of altitude right after takeoff. We're going to switch the view to the passenger for the takeoff to get a cool view on rotation. Alright, we are up and flying. We're going to go ahead and retract the flaps and the gear. Get everything cleaned up. Engage the autopilot. Got a mountain right in front of us on takeoff, of course, but we're going to clear it no problem. Not sure what issue with the autopilot there. We're going to go ahead and do a manual turn to get heading back towards our correct course. I'm not sure if it was looping me out for some reason to go back, but it's weird the line extends behind the airport, but then back towards our destination there. Alright, so now we're heading the right direction towards Iceland. nice views. The graphics are great, even on a pretty mid-range computer. I'm still running a 2080, so I mean, even at that, great graphics quality. Nice views of the mountains out of the window there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and keep climbing here and continue on our course. We're going to go ahead and raise our altitude up to 22,000. Again, most of this flight is over water, so we might as well take advantage of the tailwinds. Now, since we're having a weird GPS issue, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and set a direct course to Iceland here. Now, that's a waypoint on the way, but that's just going to reset everything and correct our autopilot. And you can see our magenta line has corrected on the color display in the middle. So we're just going to set a few more things here, and then we will set back our autopilot and continue to climb up to our cruising altitude. So I messed up there. I guess I forgot to add the gas, so I'm just going to give myself a mulligan on that one instead of starting all over. I guess I just forgot to set the gas when I was setting up the flight here. One of my toxic traits is I'm just kind of going with this as I go around and documenting it. I'm going to up the quality again. If anyone has any comments on what your favorite aviation YouTubers do that you enjoy, whether that's more picturesque shots with more background music instead of talking, let me know. I'm definitely trying to provide what's interesting to watch as we get all the way around the world. As I was talking about in the last video, I think I'm going to turn this into a touch every continent except Antarctica, but maybe Antarctica, I don't know. Trying to keep it somewhat realistic in the flight distances and the fuel capacity for this airplane, so not exactly sure if that would be possible, even going from, say, Australia or New Zealand or even the southern tip of Africa, for example. Alright, as we continue to climb here, we're getting close to the coastline. We're gonna get some nice views. Lots of snow, lots of white terrain in Greenland. In Greenland, as you see, not a lot of green. Not a lot, just white and gray of the mountains. And the cool thing here is we've got turbulence modeled, so that's probably just thermals coming off the various mountain ridges that are giving us some turbulent air as we climb up, and hopefully we'll catch a tailwind. Right now it looks like we've got a pretty good one. It's aiming at about our 2 o'clock position, but it's a 40 knot almost tailwind, so we're going to be flying a little bit crooked, but that will definitely increase our ground speed. I think we're doing a bit over 300 ground speed here, so that'll speed up our flight time. This was still I think close to 2 hours that I compressed down to this video, so again, let me know if you'd rather, say, like during the cruise I could chop it up and just do some sections of more picturesque shots of the cruise portion. I think the takeoff and landing are definitely where the action are. But yeah, let me know what you guys like. I'm constantly trying to learn and adapt to what is good content. I appreciate anybody watching, especially if anyone's listening at this point. Alright, but for now, as we have reached our cruising altitude, I'm going to go ahead and shut up and let you guys enjoy the middle portion of the flight, and I'll be back to join you for the interesting approach into Keflavik. Alright folks, if you've made it to this point in the video, I appreciate it. I'm going to come back in and talk us through our approach and our landing that we could maybe be more proud of. Quick check over on the map here in Volanta. We are approaching Iceland and Keflavik Airport. We can see on the display in the middle there we are getting close to our destination. So I've rolled back our target altitude to 5,000 feet. I'm hoping that'll get us under the clouds, but we will see. As you can see, there's quite a bit of cloud coverage in front of us. It's going to be a bumpy one coming down through 12,000 now. We're going to start entering the clouds, but man, they do look good. I think maybe on the next video I'll try to up the graphics even more because my computer seems to be handling it pretty well. Man, they do look good. They do look pretty good. Alright, there's another person out there in a Cessna, probably flying around off the coast. No mini meows. Alright, descending in the clouds and get a few more good shots before we head into them here. Get pretty picturesque, but we are going to be in the thick of it here in a minute. We will be in IMC conditions, so we'll have to just follow and trust our instruments. Luckily it is pretty straight in. I don't think there's any big terrain to avoid. We're going ahead and zoomed in our map so we can see a little better here. We're just about 45 miles out, but we are booking it at about 270 knots across the ground. Alright, continue to descend there. I rolled the altitude back to 4,000. Luckily it just worked out that we have rolled out here on top of one cloud layer, and we got some cool shots as we continue to make our approach into Keflavik. One thing, if you guys stick with me, especially as we get into many areas around the world, is I will most likely absolutely butcher some of these airport and city names. I think I got the countries down, but the city names and airport names, I may butcher them, but I'll give them my best attempt. Maybe some of them be funny. Who knows? Alright, so we are still booking it full throttle here just to get us through. We are in the thick of a storm cloud now as we get now within 30 miles of the airport. We'll be there here in just a few minutes. Now again, I've sped the video up again. Like I said, this was almost about 2 hours of flight time in actuality. So this was quite a long one, but it's just not any way to avoid it as we're crossing the Atlantic here. As we get into Europe and Asia, we can certainly break these up into some smaller flights. I have no idea how many legs this is going to be at the end. As I said, I'm just kind of going with it. Literally, as I sit down each time to record a new video, I will plot out the next destination. I have a general idea of sort of the path I want to follow, but that's about it. I'm literally finding airports as I go, and I think that's the fun part. Is it's just this go as you do mentality, not a whole lot of meticulous planning. That's the cool thing about the simulator. Alright, so we've activated our approach into the airport. I believe it was runway 26. So we are going to follow our magenta line here. It's going to swing us out and get us lined up for the airport. I have no idea why I had a random connection issue, so sorry about those popping up. It seemed to work itself out. I'm not even sure what happened, but everything else was seemingly working fine. Alright, we're down to 1,500 feet. As you saw when we hit the external view there, we can see the water probably much lower than we should be in actuality, but you know, I'm still learning. Like I said, hopefully by the end of this I will be doing these absolutely textbook and constantly learning as I can and watching videos and all those things. So we have definitely messed up our approach a little bit. We're going to roll the power back and we're going to make a hard turn to the left to try to get lined up with the runway. We're going to try to slow down as fast as we can. Again, this was a quite unstable approach. I was not expecting these tough conditions. We're going to go ahead and drop our flaps in gear and try to locate our runway. So this plane does have awesome GPS, but the only one thing that would make it just a little bit better is if it had the full synthetic vision. I like the airplanes to have the full synthetic vision for instrument conditions like this. we're getting close enough on the map there. We can see the layout of the runway, so we are just flying to line up on our magenta line that should guide us into basically right in front of the runway. It's not going to be exact. Again, there's still so much about this autopilot and the systems of this advanced aircraft that I'm learning as I go, but eventually definitely be able to work this thing super proficiently. Alright, constant corrections here as we're lining up with the runway. We are constantly looking outside as well as checking our altitude. And there we have it. There we see the flashing lights. So not too far off center line. Our altitude doesn't look too bad, but it is bumpy. It is a bumpy one. So we're going to continue to try to just maintain our airspeed of around 100 knots. We've got our flaps fully deployed. We're a bit high here, so we're going to try to slip it down just a little bit. Get it back on the ground. There is a tailwind. I have selected the wrong runway here. Really, this is a mistake on my part. I should have selected another runway because we were practically landing with a tailwind here. Alright, it's complaining at me, but we're going to be fine. Just going to ease in the power here and float it down to the ground. We've just got a 150 foot per minute descent rate. Very, very slow descent rate. We've got plenty of runway. Terrible conditions. We're just going to slowly float down to the runway. Alright, on the ground we're going to get the flaps up and get on the brakes and look for our next exit. Alright, this is like a taxiway here. I hate taxiing in these conditions because sometimes it's hard to see exactly where the exits are and what you're supposed to follow. We're just doing just a little bit of off-roading there, a little bit just to get a little mud on the tires, like that song. Don't know if they know about that one here in Iceland, which is even in the storm looks a lot more green than Greenland. So we are looking for basically what looks like the terminal. Again, byproduct of not doing a whole lot of planning beforehand is not exactly having a plan on where we're going to park. Second thought, I'm not sure if this is a taxiway, but we're going to use it. I mean, the wheels fit on it, so that's good enough for me. I can drive pretty straight with my feet. Could be worse. And again, it looks like we're taxiing super fast here, but this part is sped up. So just trying to get through the boring parts. Luckily, we did rain next to the windshield before we left, so the water droplets are just beating right off. And this is a good parking spot right here. It's airplane sized next to a big building. We're going to engage the parking brake and go ahead and turn off our DI system, pitot heat, shut off our fuel to go ahead and get the engine stopped and stop the propeller from turning. Master electrical off, go ahead and turn off all our lights, and our plane is now cold and dark. Alright folks, for anyone still watching, I appreciate you still with me. Definitely even sound off in the comments critiquing my landing. Appreciate you guys joining us for leg 9, and for the next one we'll see where it takes us. Thanks.